Buongiorno and welcome to Lisa's Italian Kitchen. Well, we are still summering in Sicily, so I'm bringing you another delicious, refreshing Sicilian summer recipe. Today, we're doing a dessert, and it's called Amarena Semifreddo, which means cherry semifreddo. What does semifreddo mean? It means half frozen, semi-frozen. So freddo would be like a gelato or something that you've kept in the freezer for a long time. This is a semifreddo, so we're only gonna freeze it for a little bit, and it has a lovely, wonderful consistency. Very refreshing. We're making it with fresh cherries. That's why it's a summer in Sicily dessert. I have here 2 cups of, in my opinion, other than Sicily, the best cherries in the world, Michigan. So I have fresh Michigan cherries, which I've chopped just roughly. You don't have to be too exact. And these are going to be all through the semifreddo. What we're going to do first is we're going to whip over a double boiler. If you don't have a double boiler, do what I did. Put a glass bowl on top of a pan of boiling water. And we're going to mix our sugar and our eggs. We're getting a lovely custard base for the semifreddo. So simple. This is the old-fashioned way of making a custard, the way my grandmother did. And I love it. It always comes out lovely and smooth and rich. So I'm taking 4 eggs, and I'm going to crack these 4 eggs. Now be careful because your bowl can be hot. I'm going to crack them into my bowl. And while I do that, I'll add my sugar. I'm gonna keep this pretty low. Let's put the other 2 eggs in. It's 4 eggs and 1 cup of sugar. Then what we're going to do is we're gonna take a whisk, and we're going to whisk this together until we get a beautiful golden mix. I'm gonna take a good size whisk because I wanna make sure that they become very smooth and even. So we're just gonna break up the eggs, add them to the sugar till we get a lovely consistency, custard-like consistency. So what am I going to do after this? I'm going to set the egg mixture aside and allow it to cool after it's thickened a little more. You'll see how the consistency of the egg and sugar mixture changes. And I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla to this then. And then we're going to add this to 2 cups of whipped cream. Heavy whipping cream, which you've whipped with your mixer, your hand mixer. We're going to add the cherries, and voila, that's it. We're gonna put it in the loaf pan. I'll show you how I put my plastic wrap inside of a loaf pan. Whenever you're making a frozen dessert, if you want it to come out, to pop out nice and simply, always line your pan with plastic wrap, because then you can just flip it, pull the plastic wrap off, and it's beautiful and even. It would have frozen evenly. So we're going to continue stirring this until we get a nice, thick, golden yellow mixture. Just 4 eggs, 1 cup sugar. Now I'll add, while I'm stirring this, I'll just add my 2 tablespoons of, 2 teaspoons, not 2 tablespoons, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And we'll just keep on stirring until we get our beautiful golden egg mixture. So now I have been whisking, and now I'm using a wooden spoon since it's become a beautiful golden liquid. So it becomes a golden liquid like this. It should coat the back of your spoon. Look at that. It's just coating the spoon, and it's so smooth. So this is the 4 eggs that have been whipped with the 1 cup of sugar and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. What I'm going to do now is set this aside and let it cool completely. You don't want to ever add an egg mixture to whipping cream when the eggs are warm. So we're going to let it cool, and in the meanwhile, we'll whip our cream. So as I mentioned, I have my glass loaf pan. You're going to use any loaf pan that you have, and I line it with plastic wrap. I happen to have press and seal right now, but if you prefer just the plain saran wrap, they both work perfectly well. This aids because when we're going to put the frozen mixture in here and let it freeze, the ingredients for the frozen semifreddo, then we're going to lift it out. So when we flip it and lift it out, it's going to come out beautifully, so simply. So I have my loaf pan prepared. Here I have my 2 cups of Michigan cherries, delish. And now I'm going to take 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. No need to add sugar when you whip this because we already have sugar in our egg mixture. So I'm going to whip this till it's nice and with beautiful peaks, well whipped, and then I'm going to add the egg mixture and the cherries. Yum. So here we have our beautiful 4 eggs and cup of sugar that has reduced to this velvety golden mixture. We're going to take the 2 cups of whipping cream that I whipped. Remember, I put no sugar in it because we have sugar in the egg mixture. And I'm going to just pour this in here. We're going to mix this all together to make your delicious semifreddo. As I said, this is a type of gelato, but it's not frozen entirely through. The egg and sugar mixture give it a creamy, delicious, flavorful, kind of a custardy, kind of like a frozen custard almost, texture and flavor. And then, of course, the best part is we're adding our fresh cherries. I have 2 cups of cut cherries I'm going to add after I've mixed all the whipping cream and the egg mixture together. Look at that deliciousness. And you know, this is such a wonderful dessert because it's light. It satisfies your desire for something sweet after dinner. And it's a wonderful Sicilian semifreddo for our summer in Sicily. But it's not heavy, it's not overwhelming, it's not terribly sugary. Okay, we have that mixed up. Look at this, delicious 2 cups of fresh chopped amaretti, ciliegi, as we say in Italian, fresh Michigan cherries. As many of you know, very partial to Michigan fruit, I love it. But wherever you live, in any part of the country, this is a summer dessert, so you should be able to get your local delicious fresh cherries. Just chop them in any way. You don't have to be too precise about it. This is a country rustic dessert. So here we go. We're going to make sure that the cherries are well incorporated. And then remember, we have our lined loaf pan lined with plastic wrap to make it easy to get it out. And we're just going to pour this right in. Just flatten it a little bit. So when you take this out, then we're going to slice it and you're going to have cherries in every slice. Oh, melts in your mouth. Delicious. And it's a nice, refreshing, frozen, cold dessert, but it's not frozen entirely. So it's a semifreddo. It's not that cold. It's just a perfect amount of refreshment after your dinner. I'm going to put this in my freezer for about an hour, and then we're going to flip it and have a yummy Sicilian dessert. Look at this beautiful semifreddo. It came right out with the plastic wrap onto the platter. It cuts beautifully. Remember, this is a semifreddo. So notice it's not completely frozen like ice cream. It's still soft due to the custard from the egg and the sugar that we made first. But it's a perfect, refreshing summer evening dessert. All the fresh cherries blend beautifully with the whipping cream and the custard. A perfect summer evening Sicilian cherry semifreddo.